when you get sick, does your wife take care of you and dote on you, or did she throw you some NyQuil and say, deal with it?
She's like, toughen up, buttercup. I ain't hearing your shit. That's what she does. So like, I'm taking some medicine. She's like, if you take medicine, it's just going to mask it, and you're not going to let it burn off out of your system. And I said, but I feel like crap. It's going to help me feel better. I'm taking it.
Man, dude. I would imagine if my wife was a nurse, I'd make her put on the whole nursing outfit and give me sponge baths every night and shit. Welcome back, everybody, to the BMX Podcast. Today we have an awesome guest. I was Craig Reynolds. Craig, thank you very much for coming on, bro. Thank you very much, Danny, for showing up. I was telling Craig before we start, I go, you're the most accommodating, gracious, and easygoing guest we've had so far. At least so far, you're accommodating.
We're starting off on a good foot.
Early I was buttering up Danny, now I'm buttering up you, man. But thank you very much, Craig, for coming on, bro.
No worries, man. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Oh, man. So, Danny, I don't know if you know this or not, but Craig is one of the guys that motivated me to do a podcast. It was Craig, actually before Mike Miranda. I think it was before I found Mike's podcast. But I know Danny's watched some of Craig's stuff. Fascinating stuff. One of the most professional, produced, put together podcasts I've ever seen. You had microphones too, man.
See, that's the problem with it, though, is that with the TV background that I have, I know what goes into it. So I'm like, I want this to look polished and neat and cool. So I make graphics and music and all this shit. And it's so much work every time I do it. I'm like, I can't do this again. Like, it takes so long to get a picture and put it into this thing. And it says, I'm living in Premiere and I can't get out of it. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much. So if I go back and do it again, or whenever I do, I'm going to dumb it down to the most basic. I'm going to hit record and go. Like, I can't. It's like I'm getting paid to do it, right? It's a total labor of love, but it's fun. Like, I really enjoy interviewing people and talking with people and learning about them and who they are and the stuff that really trigger them to being who they are today. I love that shit. I think it's neat.
Nice, dude. So, Danny, what do you think about his interviews that stand out to you?
The first thing I'm going to point out is, if you're looking for Craig, don't put Craig Reynolds BMX. Don't put Craig Reynolds Podcast, because Craig, your name's kind of common. I didn't realize that, and I stumbled upon this guy that just reviews bands, and I go, this isn't the Craig I'm looking for, And so it's the Real Influencers, plural.
Project. Yep.
Well, as soon as I found it, I go, there it is, and I'm subscribed to the channel, so I'm like, I know it's in here somewhere. And I did see the interviews. I wrote some of them down. Great interview with Greg Hill. Now, the Greg Hill thing, I mean, me and Kevin have talked about this. If we ever were lucky enough to get Greg on, he's been interviewed more than anybody. So it's like, what the hell do you ask this guy that hasn't been asked already? You know, and I heard you at the beginning of the show. You said, listen, I'm going to try to do it a little different with you. And because I can sense Greg was like, I've already answered all these questions. Can you tell me what was going through your head when you started that whole interview with Greg?
Well, I've had friends with Greg before. It wasn't like you went raw, right? You know him.
I've had a relationship with Greg for quite some time. Okay. Like we've run in the same circles for so long. My interview process and focus is usually just to have a conversation. Like, I don't want to go in with a whole pre-cut list of questions. I've had people say, "Can you send me the questions?" I'm like, there are no questions. Like, they're just going to come off the cuff. So it's really raw and just organic. Because to me, if I have these preconceived questions, I'm going to follow the questions and maybe miss out on something they said and not be able to follow up with a topic that they're kind of leaning into. So I just want to go in there completely open and just start talking to people and have that conversation. And with Greg, there's so much that you could say about Greg. He's a very polarizing figure, right? People love him, people hate him. He's very outspoken. That's been Greg since day one. That's always been Greg. So he's true to himself. So whether you love him or hate him, that's the real dude. And I found that when we're chatting at the track or chatting in the Real Influencers Project, it's the same dude. So we just talked. Right? I didn't think about anything going into it other than I'm gonna talk to Greg today.
That's badass, dude. See,
it was kind of cool because you started going into his business as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
A lot of people don't think about what they're going to do after racing as well. I think there's a big gap because once BMX is over, BMX is over. And unless you're preparing yourself for that, like a Todd Lyons or Jason Richardson who went to school and had an idea of where I'm going to go after this, it abruptly stops. And when it stops, it stops. And I've had this conversation with other people where you leave and you're done racing and you call your friend up, hey man, I busted a spoke. Can I get another wheel? And they're like, who's this? Like you get forgotten like that, man. Like you're gone. Like you don't exist anymore.
Wow.
Eric Carter told me he was part of this program at, I think it was at Rock Shocks. They were in the Skunk Works team and they did all the testing for all kinds of stuff. And he blew out a fork or he broke something and he called them up and they were like, sorry, I can't help you. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happens. Like you're not in the marketing part dollar budget anymore. You're gone. And it's part of the business. It's part of the deal.
Wow. I think that's kind of the difference between a factory rider and a pro rider versus like Kevin and I always joke around, we're factory intermediates. We were just weekend warriors. BMX was a hobby. And when we look at somebody like you and Greg and all the other guys in our past that dedicated everything they had into the sport, because a pro BMX career, like the window's this big and then it's over. And then what do you do next? And I think that's kind of cool that you're able to go, hey, I have a game plan outside of this sport. And that's why I look at somebody like Jason Richardson. I go, wow, that dude had it all planned out. He was in a university while racing pro, already kind of laying out his career. And for me, BMX, I did it as long as I could until work sort of taking over. And I'm like, oh, I can't get to those races as much as I used to, or I don't have time to train because I'm doing the 9 to 5 now. And was that a tough transition for you, Craig? Were you ready for that at all?
Oh, I was probably ready to retire 4 years before I actually retired. I was done. Like I raced for 23 years straight, never shut it down. And by the time I got to the point where it was time to go, for a couple of factors, I was ready to go. Like I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I thought I was going straight into TV because I've been hosting things for Props Video Magazine and ESPN, and I'm like, I'm going to transition this right into a TV career, which kind of did happen. That took a couple of different steps along the way, but that was my initial thought and my initial plan. Like I'm going into broadcast and do some interviews. I'm going to work for a morning show and be on Good Morning Today or whatever that stuff is.
Yeah, see, this is why we race the races. I had no idea any of this stuff, dude. So this is why we talk. Dude,
yes.
Craig, you remember your last race? I wish that I remembered my last race. I don't. Do you remember your last race?
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't. I remember like some key things throughout my career, but the very last one I don't. I remember prior to, I knew when it was time to go when I was getting on the gate, and instead of getting on the gate and going, oh, these dudes are about to get waxed, I was getting on the gate going, what am I doing up here? Like, what am I doing? Because I was at the end of it, right? All my friends had retired. Like one of my really good friends, Matt Hayden, we would find each other at every race and we would hang out and talk and chat and just discuss life, right? Because we were older guys, right? We were in our late 20s, early 30s. And we would have these conversations about everything. And then when all these dudes were disappearing and all these really young guys, I'm like, I have nothing in common with these guys. I'm not having as much fun anymore. I'm not as fast or competitive as I once was. Instead of getting on the gate going, I'm getting first, I'm going, man, you might get fifth. Like this could be all you're maxing out at this point. And at that point, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. And I had ridden at this trail section at my house. I literally grew up 1.5 miles away from this place called Monine Trails. And I'd ridden there since I was 10. They started building them. All the local BMX kids built them way back in the day. Like I started racing in 81 and those trails were already there. I'd ridden there all the time. That was my training spot. And lips and landings, steep stuff, like just all your modern day kind of things. And I'd gone out there, and I would go out there and do it in the morning before like 8 o'clock. I'd go, because this is when we race. We race at 8. I want to be on the bike at 8 o'clock. So I'm out there, and it had rained a couple of days, so it was a little damp down there, and I'm not thinking anything of it because I lived there. That was I could ride that place in the dark. Jump this one double, I land, come down in the transition, it's wet, I come out of it, and I start to slide. And I'm sliding in the face of this jump, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. So I pull up as hard as I can, take a foot off, and I'm landing sideways. And when I landed, I rolled off to the right, rolled over my foot, rolled over my ankle. Ankle didn't break. I went to an ankle specialist, and they're like, it's not broken. He did an MRI. There's nothing torn. We don't know what's wrong with it. But it was about this big. It was gigantic. And that was the beginning of me going, all right, I think this is it. I think we're done. Because there's a guy named Mike Godey, used to ride for GT way back in the day. And he never turned pro, but he was one of the best amateurs. He was super fast. And I remember a couple of years he got hurt, kept getting hurt in a row. And I'm like, oh, man, that sucks. When that starts happening to me, I'm done. And I luckily didn't have that happen until then. And at that point, I was like, you're done. And it got better. And I went to Waterford Oaks, did 5 gates, couldn't put a lot of pressure down because I'm right foot forward. And I was like, I'm going home. I can't even get out of the gate. And I packed myself and went back home. And then it got better. But still to this day, I can still feel it and know that I've got to do some old man maintenance on it to make sure I can still do the stuff I want to do. Wow. But that was the beginning of my end, I guess.
So circling back really quick, Craig, I know that you mentioned something about the TV hosting. You were, if I'm right, and I'm going off pure memory right now, so bear with me if I'm wrong, you did some hosting for some televised races, right? You were part of the crew, right?
ESPN Road to Glory series. I was still racing.
That's what it was.
DK was like the sponsor of it all, and I was doing Reynolds Racing, and I'd sold Reynolds Racing to DK, so it was a natural progression for me to slide in and just do interviews for the winners and a track description with the host. And then when was it? I did some more when it wasn't even the Road to Glory series. It was, I think, through the ABA. They did some races, and I was hosting that with Dale Holmes, and Dale was the analyst and I was the commentator. Which is pretty fun. It's fun working with Dale because Dale knows everything. Dale knows the history of the sport like nobody knows the history of the sport.
We just talked to him.
He's got it all, man. I'm telling you, get on the horn with that dude. He knows all the shit. It's crazy.
You guys kind of resemble each other, dude. So it'd be kind of funny on both of you guys on camera.
Yeah, we just had him on. I'm right behind you guys. That's why I'm always wearing a hat. Yeah. When I was a youngster, man, teenagers, early 20s, I felt like I was going to be one of those guys that would never lose their hair. I had like this thick head of hair, man. I'm like, never going to lose my hair. And this is off the subject, but I remember I was sitting in the office, man. I'm working, and this guy, he's a little bit older than me. He gets behind me, and he goes, "Hey, Danny." I go, "What's up, man?" He goes, "You're getting a little thin back there." And I'm like, whatever, man. He goes, "I'm just saying." And I'm like, that's the last thing a guy wants to hear, right? And yeah, it went downhill from there pretty.
That happens. It just changes the look a little bit. That's all. Just shave it off. It's good to go.
Yeah, I've been fighting that. Oh, Craig, I Googled you, and I'm like, let me find some stuff about Craig. And then I was going through your Facebook page. Man, you've got this cool cover, and it's from Black Enterprise magazine. Looks like January 1997.
Yes.
Bitching. Hey, Kevin, he's all GQ'd out, right? And he's got his Reynolds Racing bike in front of him. It's badass. I was like, that's so awesome, man. I was Craig, I would have had 500 copies of that.
All right, so here's the story behind that. The best, coolest part about that.
Okay.
Jimmy McNeil, former owner of Bulldog Bikes, was the catalyst for that. He had the connections there. He told them, you guys need to talk to this guy. That whole thing came about because of Jimmy Mack. Funniest part, the month before I was on the cover, it was Oprah Winfrey, then me, and then the month after that was Johnny Cochran and like 2 other gnarly ass lawyers. And I'm like, what in the what? That was the craziest thing. I'm like, there's no way.
Wait, so you were on the cover of a Black magazine?
Black Enterprise magazine. My mom's black, my dad's white, right? And the funny thing is, I went into the photographer, and I'm like, "Hey, man, they do realize that my dad's white, right?" And they're like, "They don't care. They want you on the cover." And I'm like, "Okay,
Badass, man. That's cool. That's so bitchy, man.
Yeah, it's a great shot, dude. I stumbled across it and I go, oh, I gotta ask him about this because that thing is cool, man.
I was so tired during that shoot too, and I went into the studio. I had my bike with me. I went into the studio, have my suit, all my stuff, and it was taking so long because I didn't realize it was going to take so long. I didn't eat, and I was hungry, and I was getting hungrier and hungrier, and then hangrier and hangrier, and I just wanted to eat and go to the skate park because I was going from there to Scrap Skate Park, and I'm like, "Can we be done with this? Like, are we done yet?" And he's like, "We're getting close, man. There's a look that you keep making this one look, and that's the one I want." And I'm like, "Fine." That photo was one of the last ones, and I'm hungry and pissed. That's the look he wanted. I was mad. I'm like, "Oh, come on."
Was there any discussion with them going all full race gear, or was it always got to wear a suit?
It was the suit from the jump off.
Yeah, because they wanted to look super GQ-ish, on that cover.
Yeah. I was on CNN Financial Network.
Super impressive.
I was on the CNN Financial Network once as well for Reynolds Racing. They interviewed me after the magazine came out, which was pretty cool to talk with these highfalutin people who are dealing in stocks and major business things, and I'm running Reynolds Racing out of my parents' garage. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. This is neat. Killer experience.
Which leads me into a bunch of questions I have for you. I'm pretty sure that most guys today, the dream is to have their own BMX company, right? Their own frame, their own company.
Yes.
How does one facilitate their own BMX frame? Because I look at it from the side of the fence of liability, insurance, crossing all the T's, making sure I don't get sued, making sure the frames don't break. Is it the right design? Are people going to dig it? What did you do, or how did that whole thing come into fruition?
So every sponsor that I ever had, they had to custom make me a bike because the bikes were so short and I've got long legs and the little ass bikes didn't match up. So they would always make a longer bike for me. So after I stopped riding for Batten Company, I think that was the last company that I rode for that wasn't mine prior to Reynolds Racing. I was like, Dad, instead of going to ride for somebody else, why don't we make our own bikes? Like, I want to do my own company. He was like, find out how much it costs. I'm like, all right. My dad was a stockbroker, and at that point, he was killing it. So I called Shag Shaughnessy, who was the owner of Cyclecraft at the time, and was like, Shag, I want to get some bikes made. What is this going to cost me? And he gave me a number, and it wasn't anything extravagant. It was like $5,000 for like 10 bikes or something. And I'm like, all right. So he sent me this piece of paper, and it's like a diagram of how long you want the top tube, what's your seat tube, what's your chainstay. Like, I just filled in the numbers. And after racing for so long, I knew what I wanted the bike to feel like, but I didn't have all the numbers in my head. So the very first one I got made, 21-inch top tube, 12-inch bottom bracket, 74-degree head tube, and I made a 70-degree seat tube, I think. So it was laid back, way too laid back. So when it's short, when the back of the seat post is laid back, the front end is shorter. So 21-inch top tube with a laid back seat post brings the bottom bracket closer. I think companies work off of a pivot where the seat tube and the top tube and the seat stays match. My brain works opposite way. I use the pivot from the bottom bracket. So if I steepen the bottom bracket or make the seat tube steeper, it pushes the front end out. So the 21-inch top tube gets longer, gets away from that bottom bracket. You just got to lengthen the down tube. So I made it. I got the bike. I put it together, and I'm like, oh, this thing is short. Like, this is too short. And I realized your seat tube is too raked back. Dang it. So I raced that for a couple of races, had another one made with a Seeper seat tube with a 73-degree seat tube, pushed it all out front. It was perfect. I'm like, done. That's what we want to do. And we made it. Do you think I thought about liability and insurance? Nope.
No.
Not
no one ever does, man.
Single solitary moment about it. I was like, we're making them. Let's go. And we started selling them.
That's badass.
Weren't you influenced by the Daryl Young JMC? Because I heard you talk to him.
I wanted everything to feel like that bike. I was at this is a big part of my whole thing. There's a guy named Jay Hamby who was a local pro in Illinois, He was one of the kindest, coolest people, and to this day I hold him in such high regard. He is a wonderful, wonderful man. We were at a race here in North Carolina, in Charlotte. We were racing on the Speedway. They had built the track. The guy named Humpy Wheeler, who ran the track, was a huge cyclist. Huge cyclist. So anything bike related, he would tie into it on the Speedway. They used to do time trials at the Speedway every Tuesday night here in Charlotte. So they built a BMX track in Turn 4. So we came out here to go race, and I'm having a crappy day. Like, people are beating me that should not be beating me, right? Like, I'm like, what? Something's wrong. So Jay, who'd been a family friend for a long time, came over and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, dude, I have no idea. I'm garbage this weekend. I don't know what's in. He goes, dude, I think your bike is too small. And I'm like, what? And me and my dad didn't even think anything about it. We're just going to the races. He goes, I think your bike's too small. I'm like, no way. So he pulled my dad aside. He's like, I think his bike is too small. Ride my bike for a lap. And I was already out of it. Like, I had 2 bad motos. I'm like, I can't do anything this weekend. And he's like, ride my bike. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not riding your bike. It was a grown man's bike, right? It was a JMC Daryl Young with 8-inch rise bars, front brakes. I'm like, it felt like a tractor. It felt huge. And I'm like, I'm not riding your bike, dude. He's like, just ride my bike. And my dad's like, dude, ride the bike. And I'm like, fine. Rolling through staging, I'm like, I'm navigating everybody because it feels like the bars are 20 feet wide, right? So finally I get on the gate and I'm like, I cannot believe I'm doing this shit. Gate went, I was gone. It's destroyed people because the bike fit. I can actually move my legs on the bike, right? Finished the lap, came across, Jay is smiling, and I'm like, thanks. I don't know if we got home and a Daryl Young was already ordered. My dad was like, order the bike up. And that bike restarted my career because I had been smoking people, and then I went downhill, and then that bike brought everything back into fruition. And I was one of my bikes to feel nimble and fast and quick like that. So that's how I designed the Reynolds Racing bikes off of that.
I had a similar case where I was on a reach for when I first started racing, and I finished about half the races I was in. I crashed about the other half, and it was a really unpredictable frame. And I went out, and in my area, the dig on JMC was they always crack. But I don't care. I like the way it looks. I'm going to get me a Daryl Young. And I went out and got a Daryl Young, and that head tube angle, I was like, oh, man, this is a whole nother ball game, dude.
Yes.
My racing went way up, way fast. So yes. I can relate to the Daryl Young, dude. And then the funny story from the Dirty Fest where I told Daryl he had the second prettiest frame. I still get a hard time for that, but the Andy Patterson frame is my favorite, but Daryl Young's is my second. And I told Daryl Young he had my second favorite frame, and Danny didn't like that.
Daryl's amazing. I love that guy. He is such a good dude. Such a good dude.
Yeah, man. So how many Reynolds Racing did you make? They got to be pretty small numbers, right?
I didn't make a whole bunch. When I first started. Like, let me dial this back real quick. When I first started, I was like, I can't just be me. And I was like, I'm going to call my friend Barry. I'd raced with Barry McManus my whole career. Just a great friend. Like, to this day, one of my best friends. I talk to him a couple of times a week. I called him up. I'm like, hey, dude, if I do my own bike company, would you ride for me? And he's like, yep. I'm like, okay. So I got his geometry. After my bike was ready, like it was done, like we're set. This is what it's going to look like. I got the geometry that he wanted, and I sent it in. Got his bike out, and it was very similar to mine. Like the angles and things were very similar, longer, like much longer, because the dude's 6'3". So got it in. I called him. I said, hey, dude, I'm coming over. And coming over, he lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So it was like a good 3 hours from Chicago. So I'm like, I'm coming over. I got your bike. He's like, all right, cool. See you later. Got in the car, drove over there. In his garage, just building it up, right? Bike's not even done yet. We don't have the brakes on it. He's like, I'm going to ride it. Everything is together. He goes out, rips up the street, comes back around, goes a manual, high-speed manual, no brakes, blowing by his house. And I'm like, holy shit, it must be right. He came back, he's like, perfect, dude, it's perfect. And I'm like, no kidding. I'm glad you didn't loop out. You had no brakes to stop this thing, but it was money right off the bat. So we did something right. Total frames, I have no idea. Wasn't a lot. I had a bunch of different models. I had Barry's bike, my bike, a bike called the Formula, and then the Puppy. So I think we had 4 models total, and they all had the similar geometry. So when kids got bigger, they could just grow into the next size bike. That Puppy bike, I made it because there's a bunch of kids that rode on my trails, and they were all riding these Dyno VFR bikes, and they would jump, forks would bend. They kept bending forks, and I'm like, dudes, you gotta quit doing this, man. Like, quit. You know what? Forget it. I'm gonna make you guys a bike. So I totally made that bike just for the kids at my trails.
Nice.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. I still talk to some of those kids too, and they're like, "Man, thanks for making that bike." I'm like, "Thanks for riding it."
And how old were you?
Early mid-20s, I think. Early
Wow.
20s. Early 20s when I started Reynolds racing. Somewhere around there.
So would you say more than 100, less than 500?
Oh, more than 100, yeah, more than 100 for sure. I don't know, because once I sold it to DK, I don't know how many they would produce and make and sell and send out. I'm not sure.
How did you facilitate that? Did they approach you? Did you approach them?
I had been friends with the Danisheks since I was a kid. Like, Charlie Danishek used to send me stems when I was a kid. I would call there and go, "Hey man, my stem is creaking. Can I buy another one?" And he's like, "Hey Craig, how's it going?" And I was like, "How do you know who I am? Like, you're Charlie Danishek. How do you know?" But he was so in tune with everything. He'd be like, "I'm gonna send you another one. Send that one back." So we would swap out stems. So I had a good relationship with the Danisheks. And as Reynolds Racing was getting bigger and busier, I was like, this is starting to get tougher to manage it and race at the same time, and I still wanted to race. So we brokered a deal that they would buy all the inventory, buy the name, buy the rights, buy all the stuff, and I was still going to ride for them. And then once I retired, my goal was to move to Dayton, Ohio, and work for Reynolds Racing and be a part of the program that way. Sadly, when things went south with all the manufacturing stuff, and they had to cut some ties, and Reynolds Racing was one of them.
Oh wow!
I bet you those frames are collectible, man, aren't they? They're pretty collectible now, wouldn't you think?
I have people that email me and text me all the time. "Do you know where I could find a frame?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. No idea. People tell me they're pretty hard to find, and I kind of have to believe them.
It's an East Coast thing mainly, is it not, Craig? The Reynolds Racing?
Probably more East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, and Midwest than anything. I don't think they probably not so much out west, but definitely Midwest and East.
You're still
we were more NBL at that point anyway.
Yeah, because I know I'm West Coast guy, and Reynolds Racing is something I've seen in magazines, not so much locally. You know, yeah, but you're still producing merch, I think, right? I saw it on Facebook. Every
once in a while, I will make T-shirts or sweatshirts and sell them. Steve Bundeck, who designed the Reynolds Racing logo, he has a son that has Down syndrome. And initially I was like, "Hey, I'm going to make some stuff so I can donate some money." So I partnered with this company called Ink Division, and they've got someone that was friends with Steve as well that works there. And they're like, "You make the shirts, we'll take care of all of it, and we'll send all the proceeds to DASCO, which is Down Syndrome Association of Central Ohio." And nice. So I'll make shirts, and I'll send a portion of the proceeds up to them and donate it, because I can't repay him for all the stuff that he did for me. He's a great friend. And if I can help support him in that program, that's what I'm going to do. So.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
Can we go back a little bit to where
Kev, I was going to ask something else real quick.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Kevin. I don't want to step on your toes. I'm trying to take turns.
No, your turn. Go ahead. Your turn.
All right. So what I was going to say, Craig, is like you started Reynolds Racing and you started doing your own thing. And when I look at you doing that, it looks like what Greg Hill did with GHP. And it was it, but Greg didn't need to go to GHP. Anybody would have sponsored Greg. He just wanted to do his own thing. Is that where you were at? Was it a sponsorship issue? I'm like, I'm not getting the ride I want. I'm going to do my own thing. Or was it, no, I don't want to ride for anybody else. I want to do my own thing. Where were you at mentally on that?
Good question.
Well, I don't think I could have just gone and ridden for anybody. I never looked at myself as that kind of stature of like some of the other riders that can go ride for anybody. I thought at this point in my career, I need to do something on my own, because I had ridden for enough companies where I was like, you know what, man, I'm done. Every time I ride for somebody, I end up quitting anyway. So why not just go do my own thing? And I wanted to go do that. And it was such a killer learning experience as well, doing the whole thing. I learned so much about so many different things from manufacturing and design and marketing. That was a fun project to do. And there's part of me that still wishes that I had kept it, but also the state of the bike industry, I'm kind of glad I didn't keep it.
Yeah. You were factory MCS, is that right?
That was my first sponsor. That was my first factory sponsor. Bill Prince picked me up after I won in South Park. Funny enough, talking about quitting sponsors, I was so I had a bit of a glitch in my riding system, that I would jump off of a lip, and instead of like staying over the front of my bike and taking that little bump over the front of the handlebars and then adjusting, I would shift my weight back too quick on occasion. And when I would do that, it would make my front end really light and it would drift. So sometimes I would do that and I would land and it would straighten out, or I would land and it would slide out and I would eat shit. We are in Orlando. I'm riding for Funway Bicycles. Jason Parrott's mom was the team manager. I'm winning 15 expert or 14-15 open or something. Come out of the second turn, there's a step jump. I jumped the step jump. I left my weight back too far. I drifted. Florida is all sand. There was no way that my tire was going to land and grip and straighten back out. It landed, it washed out, I crashed. I'm pissed because I want to win. I want to win everything. I always wanted to win laps. I never thought about titles. I wanted to win every single lap that I could. I get back to the pits and Jason's mom was like, "You're too busy getting stylish. That's your problem." And I was like, "Oh, I'm done. Like, that's it. I'm done." So in that moment, I was done because I'm like, no, if you notice, I crashed because I got squirrely. This is what happens to me. Like, I have that glitch. I don't know why I do it, but I do it. Crashed. She barked at me. I quit. I'm like, I'm done with this shit. I'm done. So I got home, told them I'm done. And they're like, "What?" I'm like, I'm done. So I started racing in sweatpants. We were in Nashville. I'm racing in sweatpants and a white Henley t-shirt that had like a floral pattern on the Henley spot of it. No sponsor, no nothing. I took stickers off of everything. It was me, my dad, red sweatpants, and a JMC Daryl Young. We go to Pittsburgh. I'm beating the shit out of everybody. And win the race, Bill Prince calls me up. "Hey, man, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Nothing." And he picked me up. He was the first one to pull the trigger. And I was like, I'm so grateful for that because that was a killer opportunity. Got their bike. They sent it out. I'm like, "I can't ride your bike." They're like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "It's too short. It's way too short." So I sent them my Daryl Young, and I think it went to Fab Weld, and one of the Essers welded a copy of it, sent it back out. It's perfect. I'm like, this is awesome. And I rode that bike until I quit riding for MCS. Actually, no, there's another one that came after that too. But they were really grateful. They were really gracious in making a bike for me too. That matched the bike that worked well for me at that point. So MCS was great.
Hey, Danny, this goes back to the point when we talked about a couple episodes back, where if anybody racing in Levi's or sweatpants, those are the guys you need to worry about, right?
Dude, I was pissed. I was racing mad the whole time. I was racing mad. I was getting on the game with everyone that's sponsored, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill all of you guys. Like, you guys don't stand a chance. I would have doubled that weekend. I would have doubled that weekend, except Robert Swick won open, 14-15 open, and I got second. Sam Arellano got third, and Swick was on red line. I was on nobody, and Sam, I think, might have been on Mongoose at the time. I'm not sure. But it was a good sandwich to be in because those dudes were fast. They were amazing. But I still was like, I wish I would have doubled that weekend too.
Dude, I remember Sam Marlano from Azusa when he was like 6 years old or whatever, smoking people in the Azusa track. So yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he was one of my targets growing up. Like, I don't know why I picked him, but I saw him in a magazine and I'm like, oh, I want to beat that dude. Yeah. So every time I got a chance to race him, I just wanted to beat him. It was like when the Terrible 10. You guys remember the Terrible 10?
Oh, I was going to ask that if you made the Terrible 10. I don't remember you being in the Terrible 10, but you were always.
I didn't make the Terrible 10. I was like number 11, number 12, right?
You're a Terrible 11.
The Terrible 10 would come out every year, and I'm like, yeah, I want to be in that Terrible 10 when I was a young kid. And the first one you saw with Richie and Daryl and Farside and all these gnarly Gary Ellison, these killer guys,
That
right?
was the baddest Terrible 10 ever, that first one.
Polson was in it. Like, they could have stopped right then and there and been done with it because it was so good. And then they came out with it again, and every year they would come out. I'm like, I want to be in there. So I got to the age where I'm like, yo, I can be in this shit. Well, Gork wrote a thing in there about we'd like to see Craig race more ABA in order to be able to be in the Terrible 10. And I'm like, I'm winning everything in the NBL right now. How does this not count? Fine. So this shit would come out. Sorry, I cuss a lot. I know.
That's all right.
That's all right.
The Terrible 10 would come out every year around July 4th weekend, which was South Park. South Park was my track. Like, that was the first track I ever raced at as a national, was the 82 NBL Grains. I was 10 novice. So that track is near and dear to my heart still to this day. But I would go there, and I could be having a horrible season, and I'm going to go fast at South Park just because it fits my entire makeup. So I'm like, all right, so Terrible 10 comes out. I'm looking at the magazine. We get to practice, and I'm getting on the gate with all the Terrible 10 guys. I'm like, I'm picking these dudes off. And I would get on the gate. They might not have been aware of it. They might not have been given it 100%. But in my mind, I'm beating you and showing you I should be in the Terrible 10. Like, I don't care who it was. Charles, I'm getting on the gate with Charles. I'm going to beat Charles.
Charles was a big dude.
Who was one of my favorite people on the planet, but also one of my favorite people to beat, too. Out of everybody, Charles probably put me over the turn more than anybody else. And I love that guy. He is a great friend. But I love beating Charles. I love it.
Craig, were you a natural? Were you riding around the neighborhood on a Huffy for a couple years and then started racing, or did your dad just say, I got your bike, we're going to the track, you're going to race today?
Dude,
what was your progress?
I was on those cheap, big box store bikes forever. And the town that I grew up in, it was still growing. They were still building. So we would go down to the construction sites and jump the dirt and just jump dirt all day. And I cracked a couple of frames doing that. But then I would go to my friend's house in my neighborhood because it was such a tight community that I'd race them in the streets until they're like, we're not racing you, Craig. You beat us. And I'm like, well, let's race again. And they would never race me. So I was always riding a bike. I was always doing something on a bike, jumping some dirt jumps, right? Little dirt mounds. Yeah. And then one day my mom's like, hey, Craig, the Park Force JCs are putting on a race in Salmonock Park, which was like one of the parks in my town. And she's like, do you want to go? And I'm like, yes. Of course I want to go. So we go to that. And I was so geeked up. I remember being so geeked up about it that it was like the Grands, right? Now that I know what the Grands are, I was so stoked. And it was just no jumps. They had two dudes holding this wooden plank, and they would let it go, and you would take off. And we're bounced against the plank, and I got all this pressure on it, and I see the plank bowing, and they could barely hold it. They let it go, and I took off. Won the first lap, won the second lap, won I guess we did 3, and it was done. And it was the best thing. It was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, I won a race. We raced. Like, we actually raced, and it counted for something. I got a trophy. I still have the trophy, as a matter of fact.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
It mattered everything. Local bike shop was there, a place called Dino's Cyclery. They were probably part of the whole thing, but I didn't know about it. And my dad asked some of the riders that were riding for Dino's Cyclery, where's the local BMX track? Like, where do you guys race? Like, the closest one is in Joliet, Illinois, which was 30 minutes from my house, directly west on Interstate 80. We're like, what? Okay. So we went to Dino's, bought a ProTech helmet, and started going to the races on the weekends. It wasn't a sanctioned track. They had their own sanction, like a PBR or something. And we would go there and race there, and that's how it all really got started, and that was 1981.
That's crazy, because you said a couple key things, man, because that when you mentioned ProTech helmet, I'm like, oh, yeah, everybody had those. I started in 82. And
awesome.
So you can spot somebody who's brand new because they got that ProTech helmet and the ears are all exposed.
Yes, yes. Well, no, you know what? We initially had that one, but then my dad bought the face mask for it.
Oh, the one that snapped on?
Yes. Yeah. So it was red and black. But the thing was, that face mask was so thick, like it covered your eyes half the way, and then you had a visor. You could barely see out of that thing. Barely see out of it. And then after that, he bought me a Premier helmet. It was the first real helmet that I had after that Pro Tech, and I still have that hanging in my garage too.
Was it for you? Because I'd mentioned this in a podcast or so way back. Is when I first went to a BMX race, I was not a racer. My cousins were racing, and I walked out and I saw the track. And the only way I can describe it, and I've said this before, it's like when you first see a Major League Baseball field, and you're in complete awe, you know. And when I saw a BMX race, I had that sensation. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yes.
You know, all the bikes, the gear, and I wanted to be part of that, like, so bad. I had to convince my parents to let me race. Because, you know, I was doing the traditional sports, you know, baseball and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they were like, you're going to get hurt if you do this thing. I had to beg them to let me race, you know, and then after that, I didn't want to do anything else. And I don't know if that happened to you. Like, I basically abandoned all the other sports.
Yep. Yeah, because I was always riding a bike. I never got into anything else. I played soccer a little bit, and then I played soccer in high school too. But like I said, you know, we started in 81. The Grands were in Pittsburgh in 82. So I had a whole year of racing local races, and then we befriended a whole bunch of people, and they're like, you guys should come to Pittsburgh and race this race and race the national. And I'm like, what are we doing, Dad? And he's like, we're going to go race in South Park, or we're going to race in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, all right, didn't know it was NBL Grands, didn't think about shit, right? We're just going to go race this race. Yeah. And by now, I think it was the Christmas of 81, we had progressed pretty quick, and I got a JMC Black Shadow for Christmas. And so my bike went from a Schwinn Scrambler 3636 to this dope race bike, right, with the teardrop down tube, which I still have. It's in my garage. Like, I don't know if that can go anywhere. That's the first one, right? So I'm at the Grands. I've got these 1 3/8 Yukai red rims. Like, my bike looked awesome too, like red and black combo, and Maxi Cross cranks. I don't know if I had KKT Lightning pedals on it, but just all the cool stuff because it was light and needed to be fast. So we get there and we walk out, and I look at the track and I'm like, holy shit, because everything I had raced on was smaller. Like, Itasca BMX in Illinois was flat. A longer track, but it was flat. The track in Joliet, flat, small, tiny. Everything. Track in Mantino was really small. The track that I groomed everything in Bourbonnais was small, or Kankakee was small. Get to the Grands, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? Man's like, just go ride the track. I'm like, okay. So I get in the staging. I go do a first lap, and it's fast, and it's big, and it's wide, and it's crazy. And I'm like, holy shit. So my dad sees me at the finish line. He's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't like it. Like, I'm scared. I was flat out scared. And my dad, you know, as smart as he is, he's like, just go take some more laps. Just, you know, ease into it. Take your time. And I think this was Saturday morning, because I think we drove out Friday. So we didn't have Friday practice. So I think we just drove out there, and I'm on the track. And he's like, just take your time. So I'm like, all right. So I did another lap, and I'm like, it's getting better. Did another lap. I'm like, I love it. Like, I love it. It's so much fun. And then we start racing the motos and the laps, and the things were just clicking, and it's getting better and better and better every time. So
I love to hear that, because like Craig Reynolds, you're a BMX star. You're in the magazines. You're everything, right? But you started like all of us. We all went to the track. We were all scared the first time. I told Kevin, the only one that said I wasn't scared. I was ready to go. I
thought I was going to win. I thought I was going to win my first race.
That's good confidence. I love that.
I was so scared. I wanted to pee in staging. I go, God, I got to pee, man. You know, I was so scared when I first started. So to hear somebody like you at the race at your level, it's really refreshing. I'm like, and a lot of kids need to hear that, you know, they show up to the track for the first time, because I see it in their face a lot when I race locally. And even when I'm just going to watch, I can tell who's new. And just a quick story, I was at a state qualifier, and there was a young kid there. He was 8 years old, I remember. And I was just there filming for my YouTube channel. And he's talking to his mom, and they clearly have no experience being at a BMX race. And they started at a state qualifier. I'm like, man, you should have started a little smaller, you know?
Yeah.
But I can hear his mom going, well, aren't you supposed to go up there? And he's like, I don't know, Mom. I don't know what I'm doing. And she goes, maybe you should just go walk up there. And I could hear him struggling, you know, and I turn my camera off, and I go, is this your first time racing, bud? He goes, yeah. And I go, how old are you? He goes, I'm 8. And I could hear the motos, and I'm like, oh, we got to go. And I said, can I just take your son up there? I'm a complete stranger, right? And
right.
Yeah. the mom's in her 20s. She's young. And she says, yeah, go ahead. I said, come on, dude, let's go. And we're going up to staging, and there's kids just flooding, the starting hill. And he goes, what do we do? I go, give me your bike. And I put it up. I was holding it like this, and I'm just follow me. And we kind of fought our way through. And we got up there, Craig, and his moto was next.
Oh.
Yeah. And I go, okay, dude, you're in lane 3. I said, come on. And I walked him over there. You can't hold him because he's 8. So I can't hold his tire. I said, just get up there, relax, and just go. And he goes, okay. And then he took off, and he sat down the entire moto, like he's sitting on his bike. And he came across. I walked back down to the finish line, and I go, how was it? Was it fun? He goes, yeah, I was really scared, And I go, okay. So next moto, I want you to try to stand up. He goes, okay. I said, don't sit down because you're going to fall if you sit down because it's fucking going to run, And then his dad showed up, and his dad was a younger guy too. And I said, all right, I took him around, just do the same thing. Just walk up there walk up to staging with him, and he'll be fine. But it's that kind of moment where I was like, wow, because of all the years I've raced, it was cool to be able to share that with that kid. Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're feeling. So circling back to what you said, it's amazing because you got there with your dad and you were like, holy shit, this is huge. And it was just local, right? But it looked huge to you, yeah.
It was, South Park is giant. Like, it's still big and fast and scary. And I'm like, I don't know what to do here, but I guess I just have to go out and pedal as fast as I can. Hey, it was a cool experience.
Danny, that's a problem I had at Dirty Fest. I sat down the whole race. All my friends will say, dude, you just stood up and pedaled. I go, dude, I was too tired, man.
you know, Danny, with you assisting that kid, that will no doubt leave a mark. Yeah, that's a core memory. That dude's gonna remember that first race, and whether he races or not anymore ever again, that experience of you helping him will probably put him in a position to go, I'm gonna help these people because that guy helped me. Like, that's awesome, dude. That's so cool. Yeah.
It was a cool moment for me. I think it's a cooler moment for me than him because I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
I bet it was.
I saw that look in his eyes. I was like, man, I know. Well, see, the advantage I had is my cousins were already racing, so they understood motos are posted. Yeah. They understood go to staging. They understood you got to qualify. They explained everything to me, although I was still like, scared to death. So for you, Craig, you started in 81. I think we're close to the same age. I think you might be a few years younger than me.
I'm 54.
Okay, yeah, we're about the same age. So when did you know, dude, that like, wait a minute, I'm better than the average kid and I could do something here? When did you know that was happening?
I think we all start out like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to win this or I'm going to do this thing. There was a part of me from the jump off. I'm like, I'm turning pro. Like, I knew I was going to turn pro. Like, I don't know how good I was going to be, but I knew I was taking it to that point. There was times in those steps where I was like, man, is this the right thing to do? Like, when I was 18, I think was the last year I raced amateur, maybe 17, 18. And I told my dad, I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to race one more year amateur, really try to get a title. And he's like, you going to race amateur your whole life? And I was like, I said, nope, I'm turning pro. And he did the same thing. My dad always gave me these little nudges like, nah, it's time. You got to go. It's time to go. I think I was 11 and I hadn't raced expert yet. When we get to Itasca to go race this local race, and my dad's like, you're turning an expert today. And this was a time before they had, points and you got to turn after X amount of wins or whatever, right? He's like, you're racing expert. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing it yet. He's like, you're racing expert today. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And he's like, I already signed you up. You're racing expert today. And I was like, oh, shit. So I get on the gate, and it's me and then maybe another 11-year-old and then like 6 12-year-olds because we didn't have a class. So they bumped us up.
That's a big difference, dude.
Great. 11 to 12. Now I got to race 12-year-olds that are experts. And when you're that age, the difference between 10, 11, 12 can be astronomical because kids hit growth spurts. And I was always a slim little dude. I was like my son. Like, I was never the biggest cat. I was tall. No, I wasn't tall. I was longer, but I wasn't a big, wide, filled out kind of guy. So I'm like, I can't believe I got to race these kids. I cannot believe I've got to race them. Turns out, I think the first lap I got 4th, and then I got second, and then the last lap I won. And I'm like, hold on, we might be onto something here. And I always remember going into the last turn, I was a little wide, and the kid who was 12, who had won the first 2 motos, rolled in on the inside of me, and I moved over on him. And he goes like, take it easy, take it easy. Because obviously he didn't want to crash. I didn't want to crash him. I just didn't want him to beat me. So I stayed there, and then we came out of the corner, and I won. And he's like, good race, and all the fun stuff. But it was my dad's always giving me that little nudge, like the little, all right, it's time. My dad was really smart about that stuff. Always smart about training and doing intervals before they were called intervals. And hey, you need to get stronger. We're going to do uphill sprints. And he knew all this crazy stuff before it was like mainstream stuff. And I'm like, oh, my dad knows what he's talking about. My dad also pitched in the College World Series too. So he has an experience with some high level athletics. So he would tell me to do something. I'm like, all right, okay, I'll go do it. He never really pushed me though. Like, you got to train and you better do this and you better do that. Otherwise, I would have quit because I'm not going to respond to someone barking at me all the time. He basically said, if you want to do good, you got to train. And that's all he really said. As far as you better get doing this. That one never happened. It was, if you want to do good, you got to train. Here's what you should work on. Do this. Starts were lagging. Okay, we're going to work on your start. So he bought me a starting gate. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Let's go. So he was good at seeing the holes and helping me fill them up.
I think it's cool because you had mentioned when you started, you went from kind of like, a store-bought bike to all of a sudden, your dad just bumped your game up to that JMC.
Right.
So that tells me that not only was he supporting you racing, but he was paying attention. Like, what are the kids riding? What's going on? What does he need? And then he goes, all right, you're good enough. You're just going to race expert. I'm not going to let you make that decision. And he kind of pushed your career along. Which I think is amazing because my mom was pretty supportive, but she didn't get involved like that. Like I had to figure things out myself. Like, what parts do I need, and and things like that. It was always me and Kevin talked about that. It was always like the way we influenced our family. Like, no, I need these handlebars, and I need this and that. And it was always an argument. Why do you need that? And so it's really cool. Your dad was involved, with the whole beginning stages of it. And how did he feel when he saw you racing pro? Is that a big emotional thing, or?
By then, I had been sponsored by so many sponsors. He kind of started to taper off going to the races because he was playing a lot of golf. He was like, all right, I've done my part. You go and do what you got to do. And he would show up at races. Like, I'm like, hey, we're going to be in South Park this weekend. And he would drive out and see us. If I was like on tour or something. But he didn't go to as many. He came to all the big ones. He would show up at the Grands. My mom would come and she would pace all day, so she didn't really watch. She was too nervous. But he would come out to the big stuff when it mattered and was part of all that stuff. So I don't know how emotional he gets. He was never really the most emotional cat. But I have to believe after watching my son score a goal in lacrosse, that I'm like, he had to have been pretty excited when I win a race and he'd be there. So
I saw some photos of your son playing lacrosse, and Kevin, he is like a little mini Craig Reynolds. It's like as soon as I saw his photo, I was like, oh shit, that's definitely his son. There's no
with really good hair. That's what it is.
Yeah, so lacrosse is his sport, and I saw you're a pretty good photographer, bud. I saw some of your stuff.
Thank you. Number one, he joined the sport kind of like people talk about their families who don't know much about BMX. He went to a thing called Beyond the Bell at school, and it was a lacrosse like camp thing. He came home after the first day. He's like, Dad, I got to play lacrosse. I'm like, you're on your own, dude. I don't know anything about lacrosse. We're there. We're going to support you. We'll nurture it the best we can, but I don't know anything about it. So let's do it. He had mentioned a couple of times when he said, when are we going to go to the BMX track? And I'm like, whenever you want to go. And I would leave it up to him. If he was going to ask me, we'd go. But I'm not going to vicariously live my life through him. He's his own man, and he's going to make his decisions on what he wants to do, not because I want him to do it. So people are like, how come he's not racing bikes? I'm like, because he doesn't want to. Like, we'll go ride mountain bikes together, but he doesn't want to race BMX bikes, and that's totally fine because I love going to a lacrosse game and watching him burn people and score or check people and take them out that are twice as big as him. Like, it's so awesome to watch that because he's doing something that he loves. And now I love it because he's out there crushing it. And in order for me to stay calm and cool, I have to bring my camera. I have to pick up my camera because otherwise I'm a stinging maniac and just screaming my head off. And I'm like, you gotta do something else. And I've got a camera in my hand every day at my job because I work at his school as the assistant athletic director and sports information director.
Oh, nice.
Big words for I manage events and I document all of the sports with my camera and manage the Instagram account as well as making sure everyone gets their photos. So I live with a camera in my hand. I talk with Mark Losi about cameras a couple of times a month. Like I love photography and I have for quite some time.
We were joking about that the other day, Craig, because I was telling Kevin I took photography in high school, and it was like we went to high school at the same time, so 35 millimeter black and white. We had to do we had the dark room and developed all the pictures and stuff like that. And I was I didn't pay attention enough, man. Now I look back and I go, why didn't I embrace that, dude? I was learning something really, really cool, and to me, I was like, let me just take some pictures and get past this class, and that's why I look back at it now and go, damn. And you've seen how much has it evolved now with everything being digital.
It's crazy.
Do you mess around at all with film still just to
Yes, 100% I do because I love film. I think film makes you slow down because you can't just rapid fire shots off. You've got to really take your time and figure out the composition, and all the settings need to be spot on. Otherwise, you're screwed. You've got to make sure you take your time. And you can't just look at the back of the camera. Did I get it right? I have no idea. So it helped me slow down and figure out the lighting and the proper settings and everything I want to do through shooting with film, which I still play with a little bit today when I can, but film's expensive. To get it processed and everything, it's not cheap at all. But it is definitely a foundation piece. And I think if anyone's going to shoot, they should probably pick up a film camera at some point just to play around with it and get an understanding of it, because even if you shoot digital all the time, you can't always process that and make it look the way it should look. If you don't get it right in the camera, you're kind of setting yourself, you're starting off on the back foot a little bit. But I love it, man. I love it. I remember looking at all the magazines and studying all the photos from, Oz and Wendy and Gork and Buddendeck and Losi and John Carr and just studying the lighting and how they got to this angle. They're brilliant people, so brilliant, and I loved everything they did. And I would just look at the same magazine multiple times, the detail that they would grab.
Words out of my mouth. I stare at things like this and go, wow. And I look at all the detail that was involved with that photo.
Right.
And if you look at the backlighting on this one,
dude, it's ridiculous.
That's nuts, right?
Ridiculous, right?
And as kids, we just look at it and go, oh, cool picture. But now that I'm a grown man, I look through these and go, look at all the detail that was involved with that shot. It's like almost artwork to me now.
Oh, it's 100% art. You know what? You do yourself a favor and go pick up a Thrasher magazine.
Oh, really? Kevin, you read
photography.
Stuff, right?
Skate photography is ridiculous. It's so crazy, the stuff that they do and the angles that they have. Oh my God. It's so good. So good.
The last time I took a picture was a Kodak 110 where you got to put the bulb in it. They had to replace the bulbs.
Yes. They had 4 sides. You get 4 shots with it.
No, not even before that. It was a single bulb. You slid it into the camera, and you had to remove it every time you took a picture, dude. That's the last time.
That's incredible.
That's the last camera I had.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I had a Nikon, man, and my photographer teacher's like, keep your elbows in and position yourself, because you had to manually focus that stuff, man. It wasn't like it sharpens. I mean, you were like, he was a really cool teacher, man. And that's why I was really interested when I saw you like the photography stuff.
Oh, like it. I love it. I'm telling you, dude, I love it. It's crazy.
I found out something else interesting about you, dude, and I wrote it down. And
I have the biggest. Maybe I want to talk about one more thing.
Yeah, anything you want, Kev. Go ahead.
Are you a Hall of Famer? Jamaican?
Yeah, Illinois.
The Illinois BMX Hall of Fame has inducted me into the Hall of Fame. We just started that this year, and I'm in the inaugural class. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, man.
That was what I was going to ask. It's like, Kevin, you're in my head. I was about to ask him that, and
it is a massive honor because there have been some really, really incredible people that have come out of Illinois to race bikes. So it's pretty neat to be in that class.
That's amazing.
Have you given your speech yet?
No, we're doing that on April 11th is when we're doing it. And I've already started thinking, like, what do I want to talk about? Like, do I want to talk about how my career went? Do I want to talk about everyone that brought me along and helped me out? Or do I want to mix the two, which would probably be what happens. Because I'm starting to realize none of this happens without the people that I came through with. So
you can tell the 09 story, dude.
Hey man, I'll tell it. I don't care because this is what happened. When they kicked me off, it was a shitty way to kick someone off the team.
Danny, you're a huge 09 fan, dude. You got to hear this story. Craig, tell him.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
what happened?
I think I was 14, and I drove down to the ABA Grands with Kevin Shepman, and 09 and JMC were the only two teams I ever wanted to ride for. I'm like, I want to ride for them. Like those are the programs I want to ride for because I loved everything about them. And so I'm on 09. My dad was still paying for everything, but they were giving me uniforms and stuff. And it was me and Ronnie and maybe one other person. But we get down to the ABA Grands, and I had been winning stuff all year. Like on the NBL side, I've been just doing really well. And we get to the ABA Grands, and I'm having the worst weekend ever. Like I'm just the worst weekend, right? Yeah. Just a bad time. I'm not having a good time. And we get there, and all of a sudden I'm in the hotel room, and there's a huge team there. And it's like Aaron Sally, Sean Callahan, who's always a great dude. Jerry Jones, like a bunch of other people that I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is the team. Am I on this team? Like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what hotel room I'm sleeping in. I don't know a thing, but I know I'm sleeping on a hotel room floor, and I'm having a crappy weekend. And didn't make it out of the 8th. Like this is when races were massive, right? There's 16ths and 8ths, and I don't know if I made it out of anything. It took me to the third moto to make it out of the motos. Like just terrible.
Yeah.
And we get back home, and I'm like, I don't know what happened. Get a phone call from Kevin and then the team manager, and they're both on the phone, and they're basically laughing at me. Basically, they are laughing at me, telling me I suck, and I'm off the team. Like verbatim said I sucked. Go ahead and dispute it all you want, Kevin. That's what happened. So I'm on the phone and I'm crying. Like, what? My dad grabs the phone, lays into him. That was it. That was the end of it. That basically kicked off I'll show you. My villain era started that night. And that also told me that there's really no loyalty, right? You can be as loyal as you want. They will get rid of you in a heartbeat. So whenever I would recognize that happened.
Or were you on something else?
No, I was on my JMC because I tried to ride that piece of junk, and the braking was so bad that it steered so slow. I was like, I can't ride this bike. I put it on. I used it literally for one local race, went around a corner and went over the turn because it turned so slow. So user error. I probably could have slowed down a little bit more, but it didn't work out for me at all. So that was not a fun way to end something. And once I realized that it was that easy for someone to get rid of you, whenever I was in a situation that didn't serve me any longer, I was ready to go. Funway BMX, I was like, I'm done. You just told me you're mad at me because I crashed. I'm done. See you later. MCS, when I left them, they had been bought by another company. We went down to Sarasota. I doubled that weekend, and we came back home after the spring break. And they're like, hey, you got to get ready and go to the Winter Nationals. And I'm like, I can't go. You're going to go. And I'm like, I can't go because I took a day off to leave before spring break. I got to go back to school. You got to go to the Winter Nationals. I'm like, I can't go. You're going to go. And I'm like, let me give you guys a call back. Hung up the phone. They didn't know this, but Joe Martino, who owned Cyclecraft at the time, after I doubled, said, hey, man, you ever need a ride, give me a call. I'm like, okay, thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. I called Joe that instant and said, hey, man, remember when you said I could call you if I needed a ride? He's like, yep. I'm like, can I take you up on that? He's like, absolutely. I said, okay, cool. Let me call you right back. Hung up, called MCS back up and told him, hey, dudes, I quit. What? Pissed, mad. Send all the shit back. Made me send everything back. I'm like, all right, see you later. Had to mail everything back to them. They were so mad. But these guys were different owners. They weren't the owners that were there when I first started to ride for him. So that total regime change didn't. I was like, all right. I mean, I had no allegiance to them. So, and then I rode for Joe, and Joe was great for a while.
Were you when you raced for Cyclocraft? Was that the Brian Foster era when he was painting frames?
I think that was before I got there, because I think he went to Schwinn after that, or he went somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe Airwalk. I'm not sure. Maybe it was Airwalk before they made the Foster Brothers shoe.
That'd be kind of funny. You got to race one of his painted frames. That'd be kind of
yeah, it would have been awesome. But I think I got there after that. I don't know. Maybe sometimes the time frames blur. I'm like, nah, I don't know. I can't remember all the stuff like chronologically when it all happens. I always forget stuff. So
I hear you, man. Danny, did you have a chance to get some trivia together, or are we good?
I didn't really have time to get trivia together because literally we just said let's go, and it was like
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like I haven't showered yet, dude. Let me take a shower. I saw that is it your wife's Julia? Is that your wife?
Yes.
She made the top 100 nurses in North Carolina.
She's gnarly.
That's
she
amazing.
Is a gnarly chick, man. Like that's huge. Like
that's
I mean, there's
massive.
like I don't know 200,000 nurses in North Carolina, something
right.
crazy. And she is responsible. She runs a team that what is it? They are making sure that all the CPR that is performed in all the hospitals is performed at a certain level, because each hospital is doing something different. And she's like, that's not right. Like, you guys, the standards need to be the same everywhere we go. So she's been establishing that. It's like in a whole bunch of other projects that I don't even know what she does. I'm like, wait, what do you do again? I forgot. But she is next level. I'm when they say someone marries up, I'm married up for sure. No question.
Yeah, I saw that and I go, wow, you're going into the Hall of Fame. Your wife was a top 100 nurse. I mean, wow, that's a good year for you guys.
That's yeah, right. No kidding. No kidding.
I did have something for you. What I did was I have some old questions, and I could throw them we can throw them at Craig just to see if he can get them right. If you want.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Let's see what we have. This was the Dale Holmes interview. Hold on, let me get rid of that. Dale was so fun to talk to, man.
Dale's awesome.
Yeah.
Dale is absolutely awesome. I love chatting with him about a variety of stuff, but his knowledge of BMX is so deep. I mean, so deep. I'm like, dude, you're the keeper of the knowledge, dude. You need to write this all down because you got it all.
So these are the questions we actually asked Dale. So this might be cool to see how you fare. Now, Dale's defense, when we went into pop culture, he was like, I didn't watch US TV. So I'm like, damn, these questions.
Oh, that's right. Right.
All right, so I'm going to go through these, and then you tell me if you know the answers, and then Kev, you can help them along if you can. All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
1983. What company made the hand grenade grips?
Hand grenades. I know. Grab on.
Oh, do you remember, Kevin?
Uni.
So nobody must have brand these grips, Craig, because I showed a picture of it, and even Dale's like, I don't remember those.
I remember it all.
Really?
Yeah, because you think of Uni, you think of what? Seep. That's it, right? Yeah. Oh, did you ever run a Uni Seep at all?
100% I did. Yes, I ran the original one.
Yeah.
On that JMC. And the top didn't break off.
And your bike must have been ultra light, dude.
Dude, that bike was rad, dude. It was so good. I wish I could rebuild it, but there's no way I could find all those parts. I heard Maxi Cross cranks themselves are like $2,000. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Never mind.
I hated those Craigs, dude. I hated them.
Really? Why?
They always the crank arms always stripped out when you try to take them off.
Oh.
Don't take them off.
I never heard they took them off. I never
ran them. My friends had them. I had one-piece cranks my whole time I ever rode.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Ashtabulas?
Huh?
Did you go to Ashtabula black ones?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Ashtabula?
I had asked you, but after a while, I graduated to Takagi 185s or 185s on my Andy Patterson.
I didn't even know they made different lengths of one-piece cranks. I had no clue.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I would say the baddest dude ever on one-piece cranks, Daryl Young.
Look, dude, You could say the baddest dude on anything, Daryl Young. Like,
Yeah.
That guy was so gnarly, it was ridiculous. The baddest dude on a Browning 2-speed, Daryl Young.
Yeah. Oh, that was the thing, Craig. When we were at Dirty Fest, he was, Daryl was there. All his JMC gear looked totally rad. Riding a JMC that looked like it was straight out of 1985. That must have been his bike, right? Was that his bike, Kev?
Yeah.
Yeah, it still had the Browning 2-speed on it. Yeah, and it broke during one of his modes.
Oh no! No way! I bet someone would pay $20,000 for that bike.
Yeah.
And dude, it was like clean. I took some video of it for my channel, and I'm like, wow, that thing just looks like. And he was fast on it. It's not like he was like, I'm here for show.
Right.
No, he was fast. All right, so I got another question. So the next question was: this rider went from Torker to Kuwahara to GHP. Who's the rider?
Craig Bark.
Oh, Kevin, do you remember who it was?
It was Clint Miller.
Clint Miller. Yeah, it was Clint Miller. And then
Craig Bark was on main bikes. My team.
What's that?
Craig Bark was on main bikes, which is who I rode for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
You know, it's funny because one of the coolest ads with Clint is Clint. He's like the barbarian or whatever. And
yes. Yes.
That was pretty cool. All right.
I missed that one. Shoot, I'm over 2.
Yeah, that's my dream interview. We're from the same area in Southern California. I probably, anyways.
Have you reached out to him?
I'm sorry?
Have you reached out to him?
No, I'm too scared. I talked to him at Dirty Fest. And he knew who I was.
So cool.
Right, Danny, remember that? We walked up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Danny, remember that? I go, Danny, look who's that? Look who's over there. Look who's over there. He's like, who's that? Or how did it go, Danny? I forgot what happened.
You got Kevin got to Dirty Fest the day before I did. I spent 9 hours driving out there, man. And so Kevin was there like the first day, and he goes, dude, I just met Clint Miller, and I didn't even know it was him. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so then the next day I'm there, and I'm hanging out with Kevin, and we're checking out the bike show and all that. He goes, dude, check it out. Look who's behind you. And I was like, who is that? He goes, it's Clint Miller. And then all of a sudden it just came into focus.
Yes.
So we're looking at magazines with guys when they were like in their teens and the early 20s. So now we're all in our 50s. So it takes a second.
I mean, people change, right?
So cool. What's so cool, Craig, is when he goes, I watch your stuff, and I was like, oh, man, dude, it was so fucking awesome, dude.
Dude, you should absolutely reach out to him. I would bet you anything he would do.
I know.
BMX guys are so cool and laid back. I can't imagine anyone would say no because, like, especially growing up, we used to, like, claw for any kind of footage, right? You wanted to do all the stuff necessary to be in the magazines, to do the interviews, because it was so small, right? We didn't have a lot of opportunities where I don't know how it works now because of social media, but back in the day we were like, yes, let's do that. We'll do that one too. We were so accessible. I bet you anything Clint would do it. I bet you anything.
Yeah.
We'll have to hit him up, man. We got to get another.
I mean, there's so many good people to talk to as well. Like Tommy Brackens is probably one of the nicest people in the world. Call Tommy. Tommy is amazing. He's got stories galore. Like,
I loved his interview with him because he was talking about, the whole race thing and how it was difficult at the beginning for him. And these guys came from like hardcore neighborhoods. It wasn't like the suburbs like I live in and Kevin lives in. I was like, oh man, he came out of, a war zone to become a BMX star. It's crazy.
Legit. Yeah. Legit, dude.
You know who Richard Kerr is? Rich Kerr?
No.
Richard Kerr was the guy that started Rumblefish. He was the last guy on RRS, and he was right next to us at Dirty Fest, and I befriended him. A sweetheart of a guy, right? But he knows everybody, and every time someone would come up and talk to him, we'd be like talking to him, and he would leave, and he goes, "Hey, that was Clint Miller, or that was Tommy Brackens, or that was so and so," and I'd be like, "Oh man, dude!" And so then when other guys came up and started talking to me. right? Like Brian Gass and a couple of different guys came up.
Yeah.
Hey, that was Brian Gass. He's like, yeah, I know who Brian Gass is. I know who that person is. Hey, that guy was on Mean Bikes, man. Yeah. I know he was on Mean Bikes.
Yeah, he was a cool dude. Like we were sitting at a table in our little booth, and he goes, "I got another story for you guys," and he just kept coming back talking to us. It was like really cool. It was really cool.
That's awesome. I love that. There's so many stories that can be told about so much different stuff. Like, do you guys know who Solon Foster is?
Say again.
Solon Foster comes out of
I don't know.
Michigan. So I remember he used to write for JMC. So whenever I think about Daryl, I think about Solon because those two worked together. Solon was about a year older than me. He came to this place called Michigan City Indoor that we used to race at in the winter. Asphalt all around with VHT in the corner, so you could just carve as hard as you want, wooden jumps. Well, we're going up for a moto, and this kid looks at me, and I'm this is one of my tracks, so I'm super confident, right? And I'm winning everything there every day, all the time. And he's like, "You know who that is?" And I'm like, "No." Solon has a black helmet on, black goggles, black shirt, black pants, bike is black, black mags, like everything is blacked out. I'm like, "I don't know. I don't give a shit who he is." And he's like, "Prepare to get smoked." And I'm like, "Whatever." Whoa, he wasn't wrong. Like, Solon was gone. Like, gone. He was so fast and so much bigger and stronger than we were, and became a really good friend. Dude's got ridiculous style. Like, Google him. Like, his style is ridiculous. And he's so fast and so nice and awesome. And still to this day, so fast and so nice and such an awesome dude. Yeah. It reminds me, like, those are the kind of people that I like to chat with, like people that people don't necessarily know, but they know. Like, you can ask any of the pros who's Solon. Like, I know who Solon Foster is. Like, like Nashville, Tennessee, at the end of practice, remember at the end of practice, they would drop the gate and everyone would just go and they'd filter everybody out and then they'd raise it for the next age group. Some little kid rolled off the hill and Solon is coming down the straightaway at Nashville with those big giant doubles. And so the kid gets to the double, he rolls over it, Solon jumps him.
Oh,
it was the raddest shit ever. It was so good. It was so good. I mean, you're like, holy shit, he jumped that kid. He just jumped that kid who was rolling. It was awesome. It's so awesome. But that's the kind of cat that he was, like just ahead of the time.
That's freaking cool. Now I am going to look him up because now I got to see.
Do.
I saw you racing on, man, I know I'm supposed to be playing trivia with you, but I went on YouTube, just put your name in, trying to find your channel. And I saw you racing A Pro in 1992, man. You smoked like 3 rounds in a row. And it was really cool. I was thinking, all right, I got to like screen record this. I got to send it to Kevin so we could use it for the show because you were smoking, man. You were battling with a free agent rider, which I can't remember. I think they said, was it Slavic maybe? I can't remember.
Probably. Slavic was fast, dude. Slavic, that dude was fast. He was good.
You were looking good that day. I'm like, Craig, let's go.
Was that the Winter Nationals?
It must have been. It popped up right away. It said, I wrote it down. It was just 1992. That's all I wrote.
Yeah, it's probably the Winter Nationals. I think. I think right after that was when I started Reynolds racing. Was shortly after that because I think I was riding for Bad there.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, had to been. Yep.
All right.
There's a roller out of the gate.
Before I forget this.
Yeah.
Out of all the people that you've interviewed, were you ever surprised by an answer that was given to you? Did you ever learn something that was shocking that you were not aware of before you went into the interview?
Does it have to be BMX related?
Whatever.
Yeah.
I interviewed, and one of my favorite interviews, I interviewed this guy that works at NASA. I always forget his name, but it was one of my favorite interviews that I did for Influencers Project. And he just gave me so much information about so much different stuff. And I'm like, all right, let me ask you this. Did we really land on the moon or is that really fake? And he's like, if it was fake, there would have had to have been like 400,000 people that worked on it that would have had to keep their mouth shut. And I'm like, maybe it's 40,000 people. Regardless, he's like, if it didn't happen, 40,000 people would have to have not said a word. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that many people worked on the whole project. So
yeah,
he landed on the moon.
Was it Scott Avett?
No, Scott Avett is the lead singer of the Avett Brothers.
That's what's on right now. I just have it on mute.
Yeah, great dude. He's awesome. We play pickleball every Sunday. We do.
Hey, what's it called when you think something's happened already, but it just happened? What's it called again? We have a
Deja vu?
I just had a major deja vu, dude, right when he answered that question about the NASA. I just had a major deja vu time. Anyway,
Yeah, that whole thing with the moon, like I deep dive stuff, Craig. I'm guilty of it, dude. Like I get a topic in my head and I have to watch every video.
Yeah.
Like the O.J. Simpson thing, I watched everything I could possibly watch. Yeah, and then then there was like the conspiracy theory stuff and all the UFO stuff, and that we faked the moon landing. I'm such a nerd, man. I get lost in that stuff. So,
dude, that stuff's awesome though. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Totally
when they said they were faking the moon thing, I'm like, but how did they fool like all of the world that they didn't do it? You know, I'm like, that seems kind of far fetched to me. Like, I'm gonna believe we went.
Why would I not believe it, right? Like, what am I going to get out of not thinking they win? I would ask them in the end, I'm like, so do you think there's life on other planets? As grandiose as the galaxy is, do you think? And he's like, absolutely. I'm like, I think so too. 100%. How can we be the only thing that doesn't have a living organism on another planet? Like, come on. They might not have, might not be the George Jetsons of the world and have shuttles to come over here, but there's something else living out there. There has to be. There's no doubt.
100%. How could that be possible? You know?
Right.
All right. So let's ask him a couple more questions, man.
Yes.
All right. So Tim Judge, Toby Henderson, Charlie Williams. What do they have in common?
Tim Judge, Charlie Williams, and
Toby Henderson.
Hutch.
Man, you got one.
Yes. I was going to say Hutch first, but I was like, wait, did you say Toby? Yes.
Yeah. All right. In 1983, what company made the PL20 Carrera?
Oh, shoot. I know this.
Dale got this one.
PL20. What year was it?
1983.
The PL20 Carrera. I know this.
Dale was like, come on, don't even ask me this stupid question.
See, because he's brilliant, right? That dude's got a
brilliant.
sponge of a brain. Oh, I'm picturing. I know it. I remember it.
Major bike manufacturer too, big time. One of the big guys.
Was it GT?
Oh, Red Line.
Dang
All right. Okay, so I got another one for you. Okay.
All right.
What bicycle company manufactured their frames out of Oakland, California in the 1980s?
Boss.
That was an easy one. Good one. Kevin got that one right. I just watched our video again, Kev. That's why I know who got him. Okay, this one might be easy. Okay, what company made the mushroom grips?
ODI.
Right on the money. All right. In 1983, what factory team ran Ked's shoes exclusively?
Oh, what year? 83?
83, yeah.
I got this one wrong.
Wait, was it Jock's Jag?
Oh, no. Ked's shoes. Think about Ked. Major factory team.
I remember, but I can't.
I said Schwinn and I was wrong.
Right, it wasn't Schwinn.
I got a story about Schwinn too. Shoot, I can picture it, but I can't. I don't know. Robinson.
It was Diamondback. They wore
of course it was Diamondback.
Those weird Ked shoes. They were like, they were weird, but whatever. They got paid to use them, right?
But that was the year. That was the era of that massive squad too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
This leads to a question. So, you're Craig Reynolds. Let's say you're at the height of your game, and you have your choice of whatever factory team you want to race for in the 80s. Was there a factory team that you're like, man, if I could only be a part of this team? Did you have a team like that?
I wanted to ride for JMC. I would have killed to ride for JMC. Like that would have been awesome. And I talking with someone about how Jim used to sponsor people was basically sponsoring people in different zones so he could get his name out. And I'm like, that's so smart. Instead of just everyone's out of Southern California. But he would sponsor people like Jason Kick or Jimmy Ferret in Illinois, Solon in Michigan, and just pick and choose all these dope ass riders in different places. I thought it was brilliant. And I was like, I want to be that dope. Like I would really want to be that dope. But all the major ones, like I thought Porker made a cool looking bike. I thought that would have been fun to ride for them. I never thought I was on the level to my own. I never thought I was good enough to be like riding for GT. Like I always thought GT was like the upper echelon. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm good enough to ride for them. I was strove to be like, I wanted to be that good and that great.
Yeah.
But I thought that may have been out of my league, rightfully, right or wrong. But I was just, it might have been cool, but that was never even an option. So.
That's cool. So JMC would have been
Schwinn would have been cool to ride for because Schwinn was, they're out of Chicago. They were built in Chicago.
Yeah.
What was your story about Schwinn? What were you going to say about them?
So I went to Waterford, Michigan to get size for a road bike because, I needed to get one. And so I go up to Waterford, I get measured and do all the stuff. And I wasn't totally aware that Waterford was where they made all of the Schwinn, like high-end Schwinn road bikes. Like they made all like the super dope ones were made in Waterford in that Waterford plant. And I'm like, I wasn't really sure, but I kind of thought so. But everything that was amazing about Schwinn was made there. Like these things were made there, like all their high-end stuff. So I went in there, got measured, did my stuff. I'm going in to pay, and sitting across from me was Richard Schwinn. And I'm like, holy crap, this is Richard Schwinn? Holy shit, this is crazy. And all of a sudden he looks and he writes some stuff down. He's like, so Craig, how's BMX going? And I was like, Are you really do you know who I am? Like it was crazy to even process that. And it was so surreal. It's like so unbelievable that this dude knows who I am. And I was like, oh my God, that's
awesome.
What year are we talking about?
What's that?
What year are we talking about?
Oh God, it was. I retired in 2004, so it had to have been maybe mid to late 90s.
Okay, okay, all right.
So I was shocked. Like I could not believe it. I still can't believe it. I'm still like, holy shit, this is awesome.
That's pretty good.
Kevin had a bike shop, and he had a guy that would come in, and if I'm getting this right, Kevin, I'm going to try. He hired somebody as a mechanic, and the guy would size people up for the bikes, right, Kevin? It's for the road bikes. That's a serious thing, right?
Yeah, this guy worked at like one of the biggest bike shops in California, up in the Bay Area. He was tight with Robert Williams. Robert Williams used to sell come in all the time and buy bikes from this bike shop. And wow. I hired him to replace tubes and adjust derailleurs, right? And he's like, dude, this is so beneath me, but no problem. I like you. I'll work here. And he goes, you know what you should do? You should charge people to set their bikes up. And I go, what? He goes, yeah. And he goes, watch. He goes, so then I would sell road bikes out of a catalog. I couldn't even afford to buy the bike.
Wow.
I would just sell them out of a catalog and then have the bike delivered, have them pay for the bike, and then I would buy the bike and have it delivered.
Wow.
And, this guy would say, what? Watch this. So he would sell the person on setting their bike up. I think he charged like damn near $100 just to adjust their stem, adjust their seat, all this stuff. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. Yeah, he put him in like a fake wind tunnel, and he would blow the fan on him, and I didn't have no wind tunnel in my bike shop, but they'd put a fan on him, and he'd have him tucked down, and it was crazy. The amount of detail that those road bikers have to have their bike.
Have you been privy to any information about a bike fit now? Dude, it's insane. The things they do now to fit you on a bike are ridiculous. Like putting shims on your shoes and moving out your pedals and moving them in, like adjusting the saddle and the fore and aft and just the tilt, changing your stems around. Like they do so much, and rightfully so, right? You're spending a lot of money on a bike and you want to be comfortable on the bike. Man, if you get serious about it, it is thousands of dollars just to make sure your bike fits right.
I sold a $10,000 Di2 road bike out of a catalog.
Damn.
That's a talent. You can do that. You can sell anything. Like selling a bike out of a catalog is crazy. I used to work at a shop and we used to do that. And I'm like, how can we sell this bike and they can't test ride it? But to do that, that's a gift. I
had 4 BMX bikes behind me and some scooters, and I was selling it. And some guy trusted me to buy a $10,000 road bike. I had to bring that dude had quit and moved on to another company by this point. I had to call him up and say, dude, can you come back in and set this electronic shifting road bike up? because I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
So I had to pay the guy to come back in. I had to pay him $200 to build the bike for me.
That's awesome. I love
incredible.
that story. Hey, I saw a road bike race in Lodi, California. I was working in Lodi. It was my lunch hour, right? And I'm driving, and they block off all the city streets. So the only thing I could get into was like this McDonald's, and I was like sitting in the McDonald's, man, and they said, you have to buy something. You can't just sit here and watch. I'm like, well, it's my lunch hour, so let me get something to eat. So I was watching the Peloton group go through. Man, it's a different level of speed, dude. Like, I've seen it on TV, but when you're watching them go by, I was like, whoa. It's nuts, dude. It's like, BMXs are fast, but that's a different level of fast, dude.
In a pack, inches apart, like, they're not jumping anything, but they're going fast. And when they crash, they're skidding for yards, like forever. And they are booking, dude. They're so strong. Like, it's obscene. It's ridiculous. We were in Raleigh. Was it Raleigh? At a BMX race, and back in the day when they still had the Tour de Pont, and it rode right past the track, like right down the street. Like, you could look down and watch them go by, and the whole peloton went ripping by. You're like, whoa, that was crazy. This is before Lance was Lance. Like, it was early on in the whole Motorola days.
Right. And
he was, I think, I bet John Tomac was still riding road bikes at that point too, but they were fast, dude. Like, that's it's a next level fast when you get to the European peloton. Forget that.
Yeah, because I was talking to Terry, and he was doing that track racing?
Velodrome.
Yeah, and he was sending me photos and all that stuff, and Terry's legs are like, you know what I mean? And he's built for that kind of thing.
Freaking nature, dude. That guy, he's gnarly. And
I asked him, I go, man, what's that like? You know, and I can't really remember his answer, but I know he said, shit's fast. You know,
right. I think one of my, I know Terry says a lot of wild stuff, but one of my favorite things that he ever talked about, I think, was in his Hall of Fame speech and talking about, riding wheelies all the time. And he's like, everyone thinks I was just pulling wheelies just to pull wheelies, but it was by design. And I guess him and Carlos sat down and were watching one of the Superbike guys, and I could be totally paraphrasing this, and I might be wrong about the way I'm saying it. Yeah. But he said he would pull out of corners on the Superbike on a wheelie because it would help him square the corner off. And Terry's like, I'm pulling wheelies so I can steer my bike. So I don't have to steer it with both my wheels. I'll pull a wheelie and turn my bike. And I'm like, oh, whoa, that is crazy. Never even thought about that. Terry was fast. That was a bad man on a bike, dude. Like, back in the day, that cat was no joke. No joke at all.
It's like wheeling my road bike, dude. Just put the bars up and just that's the best wheeling machine ever, dude. Miles and miles, just
right.
Great, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man, we've had Craig for about an hour and a half. Craig, are you good?
Dude, I'm chilling. I'm good. Whatever you guys want to do.
All right, I'm going to ask you a couple more trivia ones. So, going back to 1983. Which Patterson brother won the Murray World Cup in 1983? Which Patterson?
Brian.
Brian Patterson, man. Good job. Kevin, you found the perfect photo, by the way, when you put it on the last podcast with Dale. Yeah, and he won 10 grand on that, dude, plus contingency.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's nuts.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's happened to the money and how money has stayed level throughout BMX.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're making more now, but it always seems like everyone makes the same dollars. Like, every pro makes the same money from era to era to era. Like, I don't know what to say about that.
Honestly, Craig, it's one of the things that, I'm not a pro racer, never been a pro racer, but when I'm watching, I just got done watching the Grands, and I watch the Olympics. I stay on top of things for my channel, especially, and the money is just really not there, and these guys are pro athletes, and they're pro athletes at levels that we couldn't have imagined.
Right.
I mean, these guys like Connor Fields and Joris Daudet and, all these guys are just amazing. Like, I'm like, they're so great at what they do. I mean, hell, Connor almost killed himself, they're going fast. You know what I mean?
Risk versus reward now is way different than it was when we raced.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any big payouts when you were pro?
What's that?
Did you ever get any big paydays when you were pro?
I mean, a few a few $1,000, but that's it. Nothing crazy that I can retire off of. Right? Wasn't going to happen.
We've talked about this a couple times about the buy-in, the pay-ins, and the winnings. What would the typical buy-in at a national be for a pro to race at a national?
A couple $100 back then.
Okay.
I mean, to race class and cruiser.
And they pay up until
class and open.
If you make the main, you get money, or the top 4 or top 5.
No, you make the main, you're making money, and sometimes they would pay deep. They would pay into the semis too. Like fifth in the semi would be $120 or something.
Okay.
So, you could win your entry fees back if you had a bad day, assuming.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
A bad day. Man, I had a bad day when I was an amateur. And this goes back to my dad. We were at some state race, and I was having a bad day, right? And I came back and threw my helmet down and threw my bike down. And my dad's like, "Come here." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Number one, don't ever throw your shit again. We'll pick it up and go home." And I was like, "Noted." 2, there's 8 million Chinese that don't give a shit, dude. And I was like, "What? What?" And what? And then it finally registered. I'm like, this means nothing. Like, what you're doing is so minuscule that this means nothing. You're not having a bad day. Chill out. And I was like, oh.
Put it in perspective. Yeah.
Dude, it put me in check like that. So quick and so fast. And still to this day, that pops into my head. When I'm having a bad day, I'm like, hold it. Like, my wife has come home and told me that she's had to tell some news to a family that no one ever wants to hear. And I'm like, yeah, you ain't having a bad day, Craig. When I was managing retail stores, people are like, we haven't made any sales. I'm like, who cares? Big deal. Well, they're going to talk. I don't care what they say to us. Put it in perspective. We're just selling clothes. Think about this family that is losing their child. This doesn't mean shit. I don't care what they say. Right? That perspective will open your eyes up to a whole different world and be like, oh, you know what? This ain't so bad. This is excellent. All right, cool.
You know, Craig, with your wife being in the medical industry, how was things going for COVID for you? Was that a scary moment because I imagine she had to go in, right?
Here's the thing. Because of her position, she's the director of a regional director for this whole program. They're not bedside what they're doing. But because so many people were dying and so many nurses were not coming in or getting burned out, they were starting to pull people back to bedside. Like high-ranking people were going back bedside that hadn't been bedside in decades.
Wow.
She was supposed to go back, but her boss was like, she needs to be where she is because of this program. We can't stop this program. And they're like, okay, cool, she can stay. And then things kind of died down after that, and everyone was able to stay. But she was a step away from being bedside again.
Woo!
It was pretty wild. It was a wild time.
Dang. Oh, wow. Go ahead. I cut you off. Sorry, Kev.
I have one question, dude. When you get sick, does your wife take care of you and dote on you, or did she throw you some NyQuil and say, deal with it?
She's like, toughen up, buttercup. Ain't hearing your shit. That's what she does. So I'm taking some medicine. She's like, if you take medicine, it's just going to mask it, and you're not going to let it burn off out of your system. I said, but I feel like crap. It's going to help me feel better. I'm taking it.
Oh, man, dude. I would imagine if my wife was a nurse, I'd make her put on the whole nursing outfit and give me sponge baths every night and shit.
You know what? The idea of a nursing outfit back in the day was way sexier than the scrubs they wear now.
Yeah, I know, right? Dude. I'd be like,
she just calls me a big baby and is like, toughen up, dude. Get over it. I'm like, but if Max gets sick, watch out. Like, everybody back up. Craig, who cares? Max is sick. Everyone's like, all right, come here. We take care of you, fat head.
All right, that's my comic relief for this episode.
Sometimes some of the gals look pretty good in scrubs. I mean,
hey, look, there's been some insecure moments where I'm like, look, Jules, I'm gonna need you to change your scrubs because I think you look too cute today. So I need you to put something baggier on today because I'm not feeling well. You going to walk around in front of a bunch of doctors. Thank you.
Yeah. I can feel you on that one, man. All right, let's do some more trivia. You guys, Craig, you're full of stuff, man.
Hey, Danny, a couple more, but I gotta get running a little bit.
All right, perfect. Let's do two more.
Excellent. All right, let's do it.
All right, 1980. Well, you know what? Let's do an 89. All right, In 1989, Greg Hill went back to the firm for what factory team?
Oh, Robinson.
Robinson. All right. Okay, one more, man, and we're going to wrap it up for the year. Kev, are you ready?
The last trivia question of the year.
Last trivia question for the year. 1989, Shelby James raced for what factory team?
Murray.
Oh, try again.
Profile.
Mongoose.
Shit, of course it's Mongoose.
Craig.
I went backwards. I don't know if he raced for Profile.
He raced for Profile. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
It probably went Profile, Murray, and then Mongoose, didn't it? I bet that's
right. That's why I said 1989. But hey, Craig, that was the great way for us to end our 2025 year of podcasts, awesome. Man. And dude, I was just so you know, when Kevin told me, "Hey man, I got Craig Reynolds," and he was pumped up, man. And I'm like, "You got Craig Reynolds?" And we just had Dale Holmes, so it's just it was just a fantastic way for us to end our year, man. So
you're Craig, dude, you're the cherry on top of our Sunday, bro.
Well, as long as when you told them I was going to come on and do it, he'd go, "Who? Who's Craig?" Because I've been going for so long, most people have forgotten about everything I've done anyway. But it has been an absolute pleasure. When you told me it was going to be an hour and a half, I'm like, whoa, that's a long time. That flew by. I didn't even realize it was an hour. That was awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Dude, hey, Craig, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing stories. Are you open to coming back for another proper trivia game in the future?
Dude, I was just about to say, anytime you have a lull in the action and you want me to come back on, I will gladly come back on and share way more stories. I've got a ton of them. I got stories about me and Barry McManus traveling and doing stuff that it's just nonstop stuff. It's ridiculous.
Hell yeah. It's on then. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, Craig. Thank you very much. So we're going to say goodbye to you, man. Thanks again, man.
You guys have a great day. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Same here.
Happy Christmas, bud.
Oh. That's it, dude.
We did. That's a wrap, man. One full year of straight podcast.
Dude. Wow.
Dang, dude. That's been amazing, my friend. It's been amazing, man.
I appreciate it, dude. So we're done. We're taking vacation until at the end of the year, and we will regroup at some point in January, I hope.
Yeah, man. I just want to thank you for making me a part of this show, dude. And my whole goal with YouTube was just to do my own thing and do it the way I want. And so when I came on and joined you, I was like, I was a little hesitant because I'm like, I don't know, I'm doing my own thing, and but when I jumped on with you, man, and it started to evolve, and now I absolutely embrace doing this, man. So, and we haven't reached our goals yet, dude. There's a lot of show goals I think we both have, and we're gonna keep grinding, man, until we hit that.
Yep. And thank you very much, Danny. Tell everybody what you do when you're not with me, man.
You can find me on YouTube, Danny Pena BMX Racing. We do BMX magazine reviews. I've been doing a lot of race reviews and all BMX content all the time. Please like and subscribe. That's it.
Nice. If you'd like to support the channel, go to BMXPodcast.com. You can buy a shirt, a hat, or something like that, and you can subscribe to the channel here and there. And until next year,
the track is closed. All right, man.